Live from Fox 35 News, you're watching Good Day Orlando.
Hi, everybody. Good morning to you on this Tuesday morning. It certainly is good to see you. As always, I'm Danielle Knox. Happy Tuesday. Here's a look now at the top stories we're following for you today. First up, Venezuela's captured president pleading not guilty on U.S. soil. We've got new reaction from legal experts and Florida lawmakers. And our biggest story this morning is the fog. Boy, it is pea soup out there, as they say. It's shaping up to be the foggiest day of the week, which could make your morning commute pretty challenging, to say the least. It wasn't challenging for me, Jess, as we bring you here into this, but it was, I was like this. You know how you see those people, you're like, why are you driving so close to the steering wheel? That was me this morning, girl. I was like this.
That's not you on a normal day?
Is that you on a
I was going to say, no, that's not you on a normal day.
No, ma'am. I'm like, cruising down the highway, but I was just like this.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
So, and then you want to make sure your high beams are not on.
Right.
So they're just a plethora of things.
Yeah, totally. And we're just now really starting to see it develop. So it's just now starting to get going. Yeah. And so this is a live view from our Lake Mary Tower cam, and it's still a little elevated. So you can see that it's not quite as bad at this point that we saw yesterday, but it's going to worsen. So just keep that in mind. We've got another dense fog advisory in place. So this is a live view from our Lake Mary Tower cam, by the way, atop the Fox 35 News studios here in Lake Mary. So yeah, we can see I-4 and things look to be moving along just fine. We do have a dense fog advisory in place until 9 a.m. So this is going to be for pretty much all of our counties. So keep that in mind. It's going to include areas all the way to the coast, really the only exception being western sections of Marion County and also Sumter County. So that's what we can expect. The worst of the fog going to be taking place likely right around sunrise. So that's going to be one of the bigger takeaways, which is not good because a lot of the kids are going to be heading off to school this morning. So it's kind of the first day back. When do we expect the fog to gradually clear up? A little closer to say 9-10 a.m. We could see some patchy areas, though, if temperatures don't warm up quickly enough, some patchy lingering areas close to say 10 o'clock as well. So we'll keep a close eye on it. That dense fog advisory is until 9 a.m. again, and we do expect improvements, say by 9-10 a.m. when it comes to that patchy dense fog. Temperatures will be in the mid-50s, though, so maybe a light jacket for the kiddos at the bus stop. But coming up, I'll talk more on this warm stretch, just how warm we get, and when we'll see an end to the warm stretch, because that is in sight. That's coming up here in just a bit. Danielle.
Winter in Florida. Jess, thanks so much for that. Some new details here for you this morning at 4:02 on what could be a prolonged legal battle over whether Nicolas Maduro can stand trial here in the United States. The former Venezuelan president faced a judge yesterday where he pleaded not guilty. Maduro and his wife are both accused of working with drug cartels to ship thousands of tons of cocaine into the United States. Legal experts question whether the operation to seize Maduro violated international law. But with the case being tried on U.S. soil, that may not matter.
The fact that he is being arraigned in a court in New York in the Southern District is a sign that the DOJ believes that this case has great merit.
If convicted, Maduro and his wife face life in prison. Maduro's next court date is set for March 17th. Top lawmakers were briefed yesterday on Capitol Hill. Florida lawmakers are divided about Maduro's capture.
I've talked to Marco Rubio about it. I've talked to the president about it. They're committed to freedom and liberty. Now, I can't tell you how they're going to get there, but I believe we're going to get there.
The administration has a responsibility to articulate a plan, and what we've heard from President Trump is he wants to run the country. He wants the oil proceeds. He's okay with keeping the Chavez Marxist in control there as long as they adhere to his will.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is saying charges here in Florida could also be on the way. He posted on X saying, quote, "Stay tuned." Well, people living in Central Florida who still have family in Venezuela say they are hoping for the best as the country experiences some major changes moving forward. Conditions in Venezuela have been bad for years now, with inflation on the rise, rolling blackouts, and one of the highest murder rates in the world. One woman we spoke with says that she used to work for the opposition in Venezuela before coming here to Florida. Now she is hearing from her family about the conditions back home.
My mom is still there, and the reason why I came here is because she say I prefer lose you physically, but you're still alive. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's coming next.
And she says there are paramilitary groups in the streets checking cars and phones to see who has been communicating with officials. She claims one of her friends was taken after being caught with a text message supporting U.S. efforts. For continuing coverage on Maduro's capture and indictment, as well as local reaction to this, be sure to download the Fox Local app. It is free to do so. Now to a Fox 35 update coming out of Flagler County this morning, where new documents detail the alleged torture and kidnapping of an 11-year-old boy. This is a story that we have been following since last week. Fox 35's Stephanie Buffmonte has the very latest on this investigation. Well, there is some new video that we also want to bring you here this morning showing the moments a man may have tried to abduct a woman in Eustis. Right now, police are looking for the white SUV and the driver. This happened in the parking lot of an attorney's office Saturday afternoon. Investigators say the driver asked a woman where to get drinks in the area before offering her $300 to get inside the car with him. The woman is seen backing away before the car drives off. Now, we talked to the owner at the law firm about how he feels about this scary situation.
That's very scary in broad daylight. Something like that I never heard of happening in this neighborhood.
So take a good look, because if you recognize the white SUV or have any information, you are asked to call Eustis Police. 7 minutes now after the 4 o'clock hour. Today, Brevard Public Schools will meet to consider the future of Cape View Elementary School in Cape Canaveral. According to the agenda, the board plans to discuss possibly closing this school. BPS says the building is old and there's low enrollment there. If it does close, those students would be transferred to Roosevelt Elementary School. The work session starts at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Also this morning, the Orange County School Board will hold a work session to discuss the future of the Hungerford property. Last night, Eatonville town leaders met to discuss the drafted document between Orange County Public Schools and the Dr. Phillips Charities. If approved, the contract would transfer the land from the school district to the nonprofit. This agreement has had the Eatonville Town Council split since its initial approval in April or September.
We have an open mind with the school board, look at everything legally, how everything's transparent to transfer how this happened, and that's one thing we hope that could go better for us.
And we should add here, the Orange County School Board will meet 10 o'clock this morning. All right, we want to turn our attention now to a Fox 35 update here for you this morning. 19 swans at Lake Eola are now dead, and the bird flu is to blame. The disease is not a huge risk to people, but the city has information that you should consider before you do head out to the park. Fox 35's Chris Lindsay has the details. That they contain it and the rest of the animals will be okay. A Fox 35 update in Brevard County starting this week. Melbourne water customers may notice their tap water smells just a little bit different. Here's the reason why. Officials say it is because the city is changing its water disinfection. The temporary change will not impact the water safety, and this change will last through January 26th, so just be aware. All right, coming up next right here on Good Day Orlando on this Tuesday morning, rising health concerns after hundreds of fish are found dead in a Sanford pond. What we are learning from the city. Those stories and more when the 4 o'clock hour of Good Day Orlando continues on the other side of this short break. Don't go far.
This past year was all about communities coming together to help others. From feeding the hungry to helping kids start the school year strong, to collecting toys for families in need, fueling the fight against heart disease, supporting families and patients with arthritis, and standing with women battling breast cancer. Central Florida, thank you for your time and your generosity. Together, we made a difference. Renewal by Andersen is a proud sponsor of the Fox 35 Care Force.
4:13 is the time. Welcome back. A disturbing story to bring you. Right now, the smell of death is in the air in Sanford, and here is the reason why. Hundreds of fish were found dead in a pond not far from a construction site there. Now the scene has people worried about what exactly killed them. Fox 35's Marie Ettinger now has the details. And that was Marie Ettinger reporting for us there. The city of Flagler Beach says its long-awaited pier demolition starts this week. Work will begin near the A-frame and continue to the ocean. The demolition stopped in the summer because of turtles nesting in the construction zone. And today is your last day to enjoy the Three Kings celebration at SeaWorld Orlando. Visitors can celebrate the arrival of the Three Wise Men with festive cuisine and special performances. The event features a three-piece Latin band and a kids' shoebox craft station. Should be a fun event out there. It starts at 12:30. And the iconic Elvis guitar car has been restored. It will now take center stage at the Desertland Park in Orlando. The car will be unveiled this Thursday on the King of Rock's birthday. The guitar-shaped Cadillac was revealed 50 years ago. Organizers say this celebration brings life into the singer's life with his style and his music. Speaking of rock, get ready to rock, everybody. Former Van Halen singer David Lee Roth is coming back to Central Florida. The rock singer will perform at Hard Rock Live Orlando on Monday on May 3rd. Tickets will go live this morning at 10 a.m. All right, David Lee Roth, he still got it apparently, right? That is amazing. All right,
more power to him.
More power to him for sure. Okay, less power to this fog. Right. Would be nice.
The sooner it leaves, the better.
Yes, ma'am.
For sure.
Yes.
And it's so far, we haven't seen a ton develop, but it's going to continue to worsen throughout the morning.
I know.
Some spots are worse than others too, so let's go ahead and dive into it because we do have a couple areas out there that are starting to see some reduced visibility. Most of us are now under this dense fog advisory once again for this morning, but it's so far, again, not too terrible, but that doesn't mean let your guard down, especially with pretty much all of the districts now going back to school, and it's the first day back to school for most of our counties across Central Florida. So just keep that in mind, and if you're in some of the local neighborhoods, just check and double check your stopping distance coming around corners, just for the kids heading off to the school bus stop this morning, right? But here's a live view all the way from Daytona Beach, which is one of the foggier cameras we've got this morning. Downtown Orlando to Lake Fairview, still overall looking fairly clear, and then Titusville, still pretty dark out there, but you can see some of that fog has developed and started to lower. When it comes to our Lake Mary Tower cam, this so far is one of the worst spots we have. This is, of course, in Lake Mary in Seminole County. We can still see the headlights of the cars in the roadways, and the fog is still a little elevated. So sitting, a little bit further up from the roadway itself. So this is kind of what we're seeing so far. But again, it's going to continue to worsen as temperatures cool off by a couple more degrees as the morning wears on. So we have a dense fog advisory in place. This is going to be, again, for most of Central Florida, the only exception being Western Marion County and into Sumter County. So this is going to be from now until 9 a.m. So this is going to be when we have the time frame of the worst of the fog during this stretch from now until 9 a.m. Yesterday, the fog stuck around for quite some time, right? It finally did lift and did allow for some sunshine to peek through, but we could see more of that today. Essentially, if temperatures don't warm up quickly enough, it will continue to monitor that, obviously, kind of one step at a time. But as we head throughout the rest of this morning, we are going to be expecting temperatures to hold steady right around the mid-50s. We'll make it to about 62 degrees by 9 a.m. and we'll work our way quickly to around 75 by noon, and then eventually working our way to 80 degrees for this afternoon. Plenty of sunshine today as well, so not going to be expecting, a big cool down. We're going to be almost 10 degrees above normal for this afternoon, so that's going to be one of the bigger takeaways as well. Once we get through the fog this morning, it's going to be a very warm day, feeling honestly a lot more like spring than it is going to feel like a early to mid-January day. So not feeling much like winter across Central Florida. Most of us will come just shy of the 80 degree mark, if not hitting it. We do expect a high today in Orlando of 80 degrees, 80 as well in Bithlo, 79 in Sanford, to the land in Leesburg, 79 in Claremont, and 76 in Daytona Beach to New Smyrna today. So we got high pressure that's going to continue to build in, and this is what's going to keep us on the warm side for the rest of this week. And we are talking temperatures about 10 degrees above normal. Our typical high is right around Wednesday, 71 to 72 degrees. We're going to make it to 81 by Thursday, 82 Friday, and 83 our high Saturday. A couple showers possible by Sunday with a high of only 72 degrees, and then 68 by Monday with morning lows, back into the 40s. So it's going to be certainly a change of the forecast. Weather whiplash yet again as we head into Monday morning specifically. All right, it's time now for a check on the roadways, which is obviously going to be an important takeaway for this morning. Give yourself some extra time to make sure you're reaching your destination safely, giving yourself lots of time and patience to make it to your destinations, whether you're heading off to work, taking the kids to school, whatever it might be. Use your low beams if you encounter that patchy dense fog. As of right now, it looks like the worst of the fog along I-4 is going to be areas points north of Orlando Metro. So that's going to be where we have the worst of the fog, specifically near Winter Park. But otherwise, once you get to downtown to Dr. Phillips and Celebration, things not looking too bad just yet. But again, we do expect it to turn a little more dense as the morning wears on, and we'll keep you posted and with updates on conditions throughout the rest of the morning. But I'll send it back over to you, Danielle.
We appreciate you, Jess. Thank you so much for that. Coming up next on Good Day Orlando on this Tuesday morning, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Why your lawn can pose a threat to the Indian River Lagoon. Those stories and more when Good Day Orlando, the 4 a.m. hour, continues. Don't go far.
Your voice matters. The 407 is your place to share your story and your community.
These little acts of kindness.
Meet me at 4 on the 407.
It is 4:24. Welcome back. And developing now, it's not just sewage spills hurting the Indian River Lagoon. Lawns may be a bigger problem than you think. Fox 35's Esther Bauer breaks down some new research that shows just how murky the water gets when the grass ends up in the bay. Something to think about indeed. 426 in your Fox 35 Business Watch this morning. Markets finished higher yesterday. All three major indices were green across the board. The Dow scoring its first record close for 2026. And also in the Business Watch, Amazon facing a lawsuit on claims of price gouging. So here are the details. A judge has ruled against the company. They did that yesterday. The lawsuit claims Amazon drove up prices by more than 1,500% on some everyday items during the pandemic. The lawsuit seeks damages for shoppers who paid unfair prices from 2020 to 2022. And America is falling out of love with pizza. Pizza used to be the second most common type of restaurant here in the United States, behind fast food, of course. But the Wall Street Journal says pizza shops are now outnumbered by coffee shops and Mexican food restaurants. Though pizza chains made around $31 billion in 2024, pizza's dominance is declining. And Chick-fil-A is launching its largest marketing campaign ever for the chain's 80th anniversary. Customers will get their meal in retro packaging with collectible cups. The first 3,000 customers who get the exclusive Golden Fan Cup will win free food for 1 year. You're going to have people scrambling to try to win that prize, right? Well, still to come on Good Day Orlando this morning here at 4:30. Where Florida is beefing up its immigration enforcement. The new detainment centers that are now up for consideration. Those stories and more when the 4:30 half hour of Good Day Orlando starts after this short break.
Good Day Orlando, sponsored by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. From sunny to severe weather, we're on it. Depend on the Fox 35 Storm Team. Live from Fox 35 News, you're watching Good Day Orlando.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Fox 35 News at 4:30. It certainly is good to see you as always on this Tuesday morning, and happy Tuesday to you. This morning, we are tracking the fog. If you have not been outside, I have, and I can tell you it is thick, and we are expecting the foggiest day of the week today. In fact, some places could have close to no visibility until later on this morning, like the 9 or 10 o'clock hour. Meteorologist Jessica Dobson to talk more about the foggy conditions. And literally when you're driving in, you really have to have both hands on the wheel, and you've got to just be looking straight ahead because it is so thick.
Yeah, head on a swivel. Be sure to give yourself lots of room between you and the car in front of you. And something I was taught by my dad growing up, when you're driving and you have a hard time seeing, in front of you, kind of use the white line on the side of the road.
Yes, absolutely.
The white line or the center, yellow line, one of those to kind of guide you and keep you in your lane. rain, so that way, it's just one of those tips. In case you didn't know, most people probably do, but that can help you out because some of the fog, it can be quite dense, and we can see visibility that sometimes is less than a quarter of a mile, sometimes only a couple hundred feet, and it can be quite scary when you're driving, especially at a fast rate of speed on the highway, so it's going to be one of the bigger takeaways. Now, this morning at Lake Fairview, it actually doesn't look quite bad yet. Again, yet. We're seeing some areas that are a little more dense than others. This morning, Lake Fairview doesn't look too shabby, sitting at 57 degrees right now. But our Lake Mary Tower Cam in Seminole County, certainly a lot more dense. So we are seeing some areas, I would say, especially north of Orlando. That's where we're seeing a fog that's a little more dense and a little worse. Regardless, we have a dense fog advisory in place for just about everybody until 9 a.m. So between now and then is when we're going to be expecting the worst of the fog to take place, especially, I would say, near sunrise. So right around 6:30 to 7:30, that time frame is when we're likely going to see the worst of the fog. So when it comes to any sort of fog this morning, again, by about 6 o'clock, 56 degrees, still quite dense. Some slow clearing will be possible by 8 a.m. And then by 10 o'clock, we are going to see a little more sunshine peek through the clouds. We'll make it up to 66 degrees, by the way, by 10 o'clock. So it will feel pretty warm today. And we're going to warm up in a big way. So coming up, I'll talk more on just how warm we get. That's kind of the second big story of the day is the fact that temperatures are going to be about 10 degrees above average. So coming up, I'll talk more on how warm we are going to get and how long it will last in just a few minutes. But until then, Danielle, I'll send it back to you.
And we'll take it. Thanks so much for that. 4:33, an Orange County couple accused of luring a man to a home through Instagram and then beating and robbing him. They will stay in jail for now. The victim, James Isaac, says he first met the woman on Instagram, and when he went to meet her at an apartment in Orlando, he was stabbed, beaten, and hit with an axe by her husband. Deputies say it was a setup for a robbery.
As they were walking up to her apartment, a person came around the corner with a gun. He recognized this person as the husband through social media. He said something along the lines of "Don't move." The victim ran down the stairs where another guy was waiting for him. As he recalls it, he fell, started getting hit. He thought he was going to die. He tried running away.
20-year-old Nicholas Lavalle and 29-year-old Ann Askell were arrested. They are expected back in court soon to learn whether a judge will let them out on bond. And in Orange County, a shooting at a Checkers drive-thru. A customer claims his car was hit by a bullet after he got into an argument with an employee. It happened on West Colonial Drive in Orlando. Deputies say the victim was driving away from the store when a bullet hit his car. The fight was allegedly over the employee not repeating the victim's order. No one was hurt, but the victim says he is looking to file a lawsuit. 4:35 our time. Some controversy brewing in Lake County over the lack of upkeep at a local cemetery there. In fact, some people say the cemetery is not being maintained since the owner walked away from it. Evergreen Cemetery is the name of it. It is along Bay Street in Leesburg. According to visitors, chairs and tires and trash and overgrown gravesites is what you'll see when you go there. Shawn Wethington says that she has been trying to maintain her loved ones' graves by herself, but she says this problem is only getting worse.
I would call and say, hey, something's going on here. The grass is growing. Can you please have somebody come out and cut? They would cut. A few months pass, same thing. And then gradually it's nothing.
Well, according to Sunbiz, Evergreen Cemetery dissolved in September of last year, and documents show the cemetery is a community cemetery, which means it's not legally required to set money aside for future maintenance. A spokesperson with Lake County says code enforcement is now looking into these conditions, and there will be a virtual community meeting on Thursday. Coming up next on Good Day Orlando, big changes coming to routine shots, the new recommendations that could impact your child. We'll talk about that. Plus, the first of its kind weight loss pill has arrived to pharmacies in this country, so we're going to break down the cost when we come back. It's 4:41. You're watching Good Day Orlando. Don't go far.
Around the clock. Depend on us, the Fox 35 Storm Team. Wake up with me on Good Day Orlando. I'll prepare you for your day ahead so you have everything you need before you head out the door. When the day winds down, join me weeknights on Fox 35 News and know what's coming. For morning, tonight depends on the Fox 35 Storm team.
Florida Live takes you beyond the headlines. We need to figure out exactly what happened on this ride.
Join me for Florida Live today at 2 on Fox 35.
The time right now is 4:45. Flu cases are spiking. Health officials are urging people to get a vaccine if they are able to do so. The CDC estimates 11 million people have already caught the flu. More than 100,000 people were hospitalized and 5,000 people have died. This season is hitting Americans especially hard because of a new flu variant dubbed the super flu. The variant is not included in this season's flu shots. Well, it is finally here. Novo Nordisk's weight loss pill is now available. It's called the Wegovy pill. This pill costs about $150 to $300 a month, depending on the dosage you need. It's available at 70,000 pharmacies, including Costco. Cash-paying patients can get the pill soon on the Trump RX platform. Turn our attention to our weather now. We are getting the fog not soon, but right now. Jessica Thompson, as we bring you into this, and it is so thick out there.
It is. And some spots, I would say, especially north of Orlando, are where it's worse. So I think Seminole County through Volusia County, even northern sections of Orange County is where we're kind of seeing it the most thick and the most dense. So just bottom line, especially with kids heading back to school today in so many of our counties and so many of our districts, you just want to make sure you're taking it easy out there. And we actually have several more cars out on the roadways, and I feel like what's typical of this hour. So all the more reason to give yourself some extra time and patience to make it to your destinations, whether that be school, work, errands, whatever, even if you're just traveling. So we can see there's some dense fog out there from our Lake Mary Tower cam, and then we also have some close to Daytona Beach. Daytona Beach is looking a little more foggy than what we saw this time yesterday. Not everyone is seeing that dense fog this morning, but we do expect it to continue to likely worsen as the morning wears on. We're at 56 degrees right now, by the way, in Daytona Beach. Most of us are right around the mid-50s, and we have that dense fog advisory in place until 9 a.m. for just about all of us. So between now and then, I would say, especially close to sunrise, that's probably when we're going to be expecting the worst of it. I would say between about 6:30 and 7:30 is likely when we'll see the worst of the most dense of the fog, which is not the best timing wise, because we know that's right around the peak of the morning commute and right around when many kids are heading off to school. So one of the bigger takeaways this morning: plan for a foggy start. But when it comes to when exactly it's going to be clearing up, I wanted to show you some future clouds and radar to give you an idea, because it does show by midday we're looking mostly sunny, just a couple of clouds out there, and we'll be expecting a few more clouds to build in as we head into tonight. But generally speaking, the big story outside of the fog is going to be the warmth. We're expecting, again, mostly sunny skies, yes, but temperatures soaring well into the upper 70s and low 80s for highs as we head throughout not only today but the next couple of days. Excuse me, we're looking at temperatures again by midday, noon 75, before a high of 80 degrees this afternoon in Orlando. So our highs across the board will be right around the upper 70s and low 80s. 80s I mentioned in Orlando and Bithlo, 79 Titusville, 76 from Cocoa Beach, and 77 in Melbourne, 76 as well in New Smyrna to Daytona Beach, and 79 from DeLand to the Villages, Bushel and Leesburg. So a warm day any way you slice it. So the bigger takeaway again is going to be the fact that we have a foggy morning, beautiful afternoon. If you are a fan of the warmer temperatures, it's going to still feel quite nice out there. So we have high pressure that's going to continue to build in, and when we have high pressure overhead, 9 times out of 10, that's going to mean a dry forecast, but also a lot of times a warmer forecast. And we actually are going to see temperatures make a run for the mid 80s before this week is all said and done with. So we are expecting temperatures to be well above normal compared to what's typical and what's average for this time of year. Our average high 72, we'll make it to 83 by Saturday. That's going to be the warmest day of the next 7. So get ready. If you like the warmer weather, then you will be a fan of this forecast. And if you like the cooler weather, just wait until next week, because we are flipping the script yet again. It's like weather whiplash every other week, right? A high of only 68, believe it or not, by next Monday, and a low of 48 by Monday morning. All right, let's get a check now of those roadways once again, because we've been keeping a close eye on our FDOT cameras, because that really helps to give us a feel of how things are looking, because travel could be impacted, especially if you are hitting the roadways. So from Daytona Beach to Sanford, you can definitely see there is some pretty patchy fog. Again, north of Orlando is where I've seen the worst of it. and then near Winter Park as well. So that's where we can see some pretty dense fog out there. Near Celebration, not looking too bad. Dr. Phillips, you can see things are moving along just fine, and even into downtown Orlando, things are looking pretty quiet and pretty clear as of right now. But again, that fog will likely thicken up as the morning wears on, and we'll of course keep you posted on conditions, and I'll let you know of any sort of incidents or delays throughout the rest of Good Day Orlando as well. But until then, I'll send it back over to Danielle.
We appreciate you, Jess. Thanks so much. We do want to let you know that Fox has a new series. It is out this week. It's called Best Medicine and follows a surgeon who moves to a small town where his time with locals makes for much entertainment. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin now has a preview. Looks like a good one. All right, we're 7 minutes before the hour. Coming up next on Good Day Orlando this morning, it is not a typical love story. The next Broadway musical taking center stage tonight at the Dr. Phillips Center. All that and more coming up after this break. Don't go far.
Good Day Orlando, sponsored by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
And welcome back. 5 minutes now before the hour. Happening this week and trending now. Marathon Weekend is back at Walt Disney World. The event is themed to different storybook genres, featuring a sci-fi 5K hosted by Pluto, a mysterious 10K led by Chippendale, a romantic half marathon with Donald Duck and Daisy Duck, and a full marathon ruled by Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Disney's Marathon Weekend is tomorrow through Sunday. And you know, speaking of Disney, Cool Kids Summer will return to the park from May 26th through September 8th, featuring new experiences and limited time activities for the whole family. This summer, Disney will also have a new lineup of movies hitting theaters that you can watch at Disney Springs. And one of Broadway's hit musicals is returning to the Dr. Phillips tonight, and Juliet flips the script, The Greatest Love Story Ever Told, asking what would happen if Juliet did not end up with Romeo. That first show is tonight at 7:30. That sounds like a good one. Well, Good Day Orlando just getting started. More news, more weather, more traffic, more Ron Elijah headed your way in the 5 o'clock hour that starts on the other side of this short break, so don't go far.